Hey guys, welcome back to Flying in Space with Planet Head. Trying something a little bit different here. I don't think it's working out too well. Um, I've been messing around with having a full screen here and then making it smaller so I'm down below. Of course, I start talking, and of course, we have somebody joining us. There she is. Maybe actually she'll make my screen a little bit. Hey, come on up here, pup. Come on. Good girl. There she is. Maybe I'll make the screen big every time she jumps up here. There we go. There you go. This is Maya. Say hi, everybody. Maya. Okay, so last video, um, I did a looking for a new home video series or video startup of things that I'm looking for. And right before the end, I undot or logged off in space. Ironically, and I'm not sure if anybody caught it, I thought I was in nullsec space, and I wasn't. I'd gone through the wrong um, jump gate because I got confused, I think, because when I booted back up, um, the ship was in a low-sec system that was right next to where I was going. So what I thought I would do today was jump right back out to where I was going. Now, here's the second irony part of it. I got killed later on that day doing exactly what I was trying to do. And I knew I was probably going to get killed. I'd been messing around a little bit, got killed on a gate in a gate camp or a bubble. Not really gate camp. When I think of gate camps, I think of like 5 or 10 people sitting on a gate, even 2 or 3. This was just one guy in a flycatcher, I think. Oh, might as well pull up our kill board here and see who he was. So let's see here. Go in here, and then what was it there? Personalization, interactions, and then combat log and show kills. I haven't killed anybody. Show losses. So looks like yeah, a day and 12 hours ago when I made right after I made that last video, um, I was killed in nullsec space. Where is Dotland? So basically, what I had done was when I logged back in, I logged back into Sagain and went heading down this way into Stain, into the opening reaches space of Stain, and I was able to actually do what I had been planning on doing. Um, I was testing out some areas, seeing who was out there, who wasn't. Um, I think if I remember correctly, I had a guy here who was trying to combat probe me down. Um, but I kept moving. Oh shoot! Oh shoot! I just realized I don't have any coffee. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me because I am not going to do this video without coffee, and I'm not stopping the video. um, so I'm walking away. This will be funny. How far does this wireless mic go? Actually, I better turn this coffee pot off for the rest of the night. This will be my last cup. Okay. Cool. Back we go. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but on my way back to the desk. I had a friend of mine a long time ago, before in uh, the whole COVID experience. He actually worked from home, still works from home for a long time. And he was always doing conference calls, and had an open mic one day, wasn't paying attention, and he was literally on the phone probably 8 hours a day doing meetings, and always had his phone muted most of the time. And went to use the bathroom and forgot to mute his phone. Told me about that. That was probably 6 or 7 years ago. You will never hear that from me. I will never wear a headset while I am uh, indisposed. Um, but so back to the basics. Um, I flew into Stain, flew around here a little bit. started checking out some planetary interaction in those areas, and noticed that a lot of the areas uh, uh, weren't all the stations were at 10% or higher. And that's not what you want. I really don't think you can really make decent money off of planetary interaction as a soloist, um, with uh, any more than 10%. Ugh. Coffee. Hold on. There we go. Wow. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this video right now. Um, so uh, I was able to check these areas out up top here in Stain, um, the top left-hand corner. And then as I flew down, I think if I'm not mistaken, I died in OT Tech LIB. Let me see here. Was I killed in OT LIB? Yep, OT LIB. There it is. Got killed by a flycatcher. Cool. Oh, yeah, some pretty cool stuff. But here's the irony part of it. So I took a little bit of a break. I wasn't steaming. I just I had to build a new ship, and I took like a half a day break off of playing Eve, um, and played a little bit of Skyrim, and went and hit some golf balls and hung out with the dog, and good day off, and now I'm back. So what I thought today is I would do the same thing and see if I can get myself killed, um, or at least fly around for a bit and see what's going on. So let's get up and running here. First thing I want to do is do some quick scouting. I want to see if anybody has died recently in the areas I want to go to. Now, I checked out these top 3 areas here. These bottom, actually, I checked out OTB, but I didn't actually check out any of the planets. And DK6. So I'm gonna at least fly to Z6Y. But let's see if any of these other areas. Let's see if the jump-in point has any kills recently. Looks like about 6 hours ago there was a pod kill, so there's a slight chance. It's looking a little bit okay for me to maybe jump in there. Z6 ZTech 6Y, about 3 hours ago. Looks like, yep. And we'll take another gander over to A-Tech DZ8A8. We got no kills there. Huh, okay, that's good. So now this does not mean that I can easily get through there, but it does give me a better chance. If I've seen that somebody's died in the last hour, like I talked about in the last video, um, then I probably don't want to try to run through there. Now, what happened to me when I got killed? I was taking chances. I love taking chances, especially when you're in a ship like I have now. I built another one. I have the blueprints to make as many of these magnets as I want to. And the ship is worth a grand total of, hold on, 800,000 ISK, which is about 5 pennies. um, they were cool to go into low sec. Now, do I check out the low sec systems? Usually not. I probably should, that I'm flying through, but I normally don't bother too much. Even going gate to gate. Now, I don't mess around with the gate to gate. I'm gonna go Salmonair. Yeah, let's go Salmonair. Ooh, what are you, mister? Somebody just jumped through with a. Let's get our local up here. So now I know everybody has their own UIs and stuff like that. I like to keep my local up top, where I can see who's there, and then my locations up top as well. This is really quick for me to jump and move to. Um, the one thing about doing this, and I talked a long time ago about making these, is safe spots. Flying around like this um, can be really helpful, not only for right now to see what's going on, but for the future. As you notice, each system that I go through here, I've set up a safe spot. Now, these are generic safe spots that I've done. But Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and FC, let's keep our D scan going over here. Nobody on D scan. So we're going to jump straight through to F7. This is our first chance of dying. We're going to see what happens. Let's do the hotkey for D scan. That's a little bit faster. Got nobody in D scan over here on the left-hand side. But a save spot, for every save spot I make is probably like one ship that doesn't die for me. Because if you have that initial save spot right there in front of you, it gives you that extra couple minutes to be able to get away or get your bearings about you when you first warm into something. Okay, so first one, we got nobody on gate. So as soon as you jump in, that's why I say the save spot can be really helpful. As soon as you get into these systems, especially if you're an alpha and you don't have a cloak, if no one is on that gate, I get off that gate as quickly as possible. Now, the other day, whenever I was flying around here, I made up a few save spots. So you'll see them pop up here, but I don't think I've gotten far enough down. So let's pull up the map again. I'll show you guys where I'm at, where I want to go. So I'm at F7 Tech ICZ. I'm going to go Z Tech 6YQC and then A Tech D. Once I get here, then will take a little bit of time to explore this little ring here first, this little constellation that's going on here. So let's just do a little bit of a D scan. And might as well pull up D scan a little bit larger. Maybe you guys can see it. Now, I would say I'm not an expert at D-scanning, but I would also say that I'm not a novice. There's a lot of guys out there, especially the PvPers, are really good at D-scan. If there's one thing that I can suggest to any new player out there, and I've said this in a couple videos in the past, learn D-scan. It is not instantaneously doesn't come, it's not easily learned right off the bat, but once you do it, it does two things. Number one, it keeps you safe and helps you see what's more around. But number two, it actually opens up your mind as to the space that you're actually in. You stop being so focused on uh, points in space that you're flying to, and you're actually looking at those points in space. It makes it feel much more lived in, makes the game feel a lot more interesting in my mind. It took me a long time to actually realize that. And the only time I finally realized it when I first came back to the game about 2.5 years ago, um, I forced myself to learn it, and I forced myself to, when I was doing exploration, especially in wormhole spaces, because then you don't have a local, you don't have different things, you don't have stations to go to be safe. And so I forced myself and I got pretty good at just staying alive and understanding where things were and what they were doing. And once I got that, then I understood the reasoning behind save spots and the reasoning behind looking at different things. So for an example, I'm just going to do this here. Right now I've got my D-scan at 360, so I'm basically looking all around me. I'm going to use this a lot over the next couple minutes. It's so weird to have my dog just roll in and just start staring at me while I talk. She just sits here and just stares at me. Hold on. So you're going to see me do a lot of this going forward. And again, I'm not the fastest at it, but I'm not too bad. I have a general understanding of it. Now, what do I want to do? I now know that no one, if I'm hitting my hotkey and D-scanning, is throwing out some combat probes. That's number one. I don't see anything there. Number two, it's showing me everything that's here. It's showing me that there's a golem out here someplace. It's showing me that there are a bunch of player-owned stations in this system. I could take the time here and right-click on each one of these stations and do a show info. That would give me even more information. It would tell me who these stations belong to, which would give me a general idea for whether or not I want to live here or not. Um, Different things like that. So next thing, what I want to do? Well, I want to check out the um, the jump gate that I'm going to be going to. Now, I am currently in F7 Tech ICZ. I want to get to 7 Tech 6. Why? Now, I know currently there's 3 other people in the system. I can see that there's a golem out here somewhere. I can right click here and using the directional scanning, it'll tell me what a golem is. Now this, I look here and I see, does this um, fire off um, warp disruption spheres or anything like that? Does it have any bonuses to that? No, it doesn't. If I saw something like a saber or a flycatcher, then I'd be like, "Oop, gotta be careful." I still need to be careful, but this is where I want to keep an eye out for. So I see he's there. Now, second thing I want to do is see if he's on the gate that I'm going to. So I'm going to pull up just to give you guys a visual. There we go. And this bubble right here is the size of my directional scanner. It's a very small system that I'm in. So basically that my directional scanning bubble covers the entire system. This is probably for another video down the road, but much larger systems, huge systems, my bubble would seem incredibly small. And this is something tactically that you can use, especially if you're living on your own out in space, where you can put yourself in spots. Once you understand the directional scanning, you can set up your what you're doing to be out of the view of instantaneous attackers and people who are looking to kill you, and give you maybe that extra minute or two to hide or find a safe spot or dock up or do whatever or cloak up or whatever. So at least make yourself not a target. So, but this system right here doesn't really pertain to that, so I'm not going to really bother. I probably won't bother with it in this video, but the whole lived-in part of directional scanning, that can become a huge thing. And I think it's that thing that gets players to go from playing Eve for like 6 months. Directional scanning to me is like that thing that gets players from playing for more than 6 months to being lifelong Eve players. They then understand the game so much more. If you're playing in space. So, um, cool. Here we go. Now, since I have directionally scanned the whole system, I know that I'm not seeing any warp disruption spheres out here. So that's cool. The second thing that I'm looking for is there is a golem here. So I want to make sure that golem isn't on the gate that I'm wanting to go to, which again, I think is that Z Tech 6 gate. So Z Tech 6 right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my angle. See that? Change it down from 360 to a very, very small cone. Okay? And then I'm going to find the Z-Tech 6 gate, which is right here. And I'm going to hold down the V button and then click the shortcut V button and then click my button onto the gate. That changes the direction of my directional scan. Notice down here, my directional scan went from all those different things down to just the gate. So that tells me most likely that golem is not on this gate, nor is there anything else there. And this is something that really keeps you alive because you can see what's going on. As you get farther and farther into the game, there's other things that will keep you alive. So let's go ahead and I see nothing here that scares me too much. And again, I'm flying a really cheap ship. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to jump straight through. Close that. We'll bring it back up here in a second. Once I start warping, I'm going to click this back to 360 degrees. I'm going to lower it down to 1 AU, so my sphere is a bunch smaller. Now all I'm doing is hitting my directional scanner, my shortcut V, and just hitting it as I'm flying in, just to get a general feel if anybody is near me as I'm flying. Sometimes you're warping in and somebody else is warping in. That extra half a second might be what you need. Okay, so we just got through. We want to change our AU out. We want to get off this gate as quickly as possible. We probably want to do that the opposite because nobody's on gate. Probably should have done that first and then change my AU view. But we're cool. We've got 4 people in system. Okay. No stations either. Also, I'm not seeing any whatchamacallit, I'm not seeing any player controlled stations on here. So, whoop, there we go. There's a magnate. I'm a magnate. So, there's 2 of us out here. And we got a malediction. So, you can sit here, and that's the best part. You can just sit here and look at your D-scan, check out what's out here. We've got a malediction. I'm just going to go ahead and get myself moving here. Interdiction nullifier, reactivation delay, max. So interdiction nullifier duration. I didn't know a malediction. Through interdiction nullifiers. Huh. Okay, so as I was sitting here, notice that magnate and then this malediction most likely went away because my local went away as they were clicking out. So hitting D-scan kind of keeps things going. Now the second thing I want to do is the next gate that I want to go to is ATAC DZA8. Cool. Just D-scanning away. Make sure we're not there. So we want to go to this gate that's 74.9 AU out. So what we want to do, we're not close enough. I'm going to pull up my probe scanner here. And remember how I was saying earlier that in the last system, the 360-degree scanner was covered the entire system. This one is not even close. Look how small my bubble is to the rest of the systems. See? Now, the second thing that I can do is I have a second location here, a second save spot, and that is near the XFBE Tech T gate. I'm just going to keep saying stuff like that because it makes me sound cool. Now, here's the tough part. See this ATEC DZ-A8 gate that I want to go through? It's off on its own. It's quietly sitting here. So what I want to do is be careful. There probably isn't one here because we've already checked out to see if there's been any kills recently. But there is a slight chance that the Sturm Yankin has set up a bubble on here. We don't want to be drugged into a bubble as we're flying through it, which means we don't want to be going from one gate to another because a lot of times they'll set up these drag bubbles from one gate to another. We want to fly to another spot and come at it from a different angle. So there's a lot of videos out there for drag bubbles. I think I've done 1 or 2 rudimentary ones, but I'm going to go ahead and just warp to a random spot here. Well, not a random, an asteroid belt. Good. At 100 kilometers. That way, should I fly into something that, wasn't far enough. Okay, so we're going to land about halfway here. So you're going to watch my ship go. Here we go. But I didn't have enough capacity. This system is so large, I didn't have enough capacitor to cover the entire distance there. Maybe it was, did I have my micro warp drive on? That's probably why. So I'm going to stop almost at this asteroid belt, I think. I don't think I should have made it. I guess I did. Ooh, there's a lot of junk here. There's a lot of junk. So there's a question. Do I mess around and try to pick some junk up? Nope. Not going to do that. This is something that you can do. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to warp from a different direction up toward this gate. I'm going to warp to it at 100 kilometers. As I'm flying to it, got my distance here. I'm going to hit Control B. I'm going to save a spot. Save spot 3. As this gets closer and closer, once I get within 14.3 AU, I'm going to drop a save spot. So we're at 40, 35, 25. There we go. So the save spot number 3 is dropped. You can see that here. Now I'm going to warp back to it. Within 100. Now, I very easily could just try to get through this gate. Wait. But I'm not going to just yet. What I want to do is save this save spot at a location. And we're going to say safe. And this is near the ATEC D ZA8 gate 100. And I'm going to put safe. So what does this do? This entire trip out here was worthwhile just for this one save spot that I've made, because going forward, I now have a save spot. I'm going to go ahead and get myself moving here. Anytime I want to fly through here, did I hit? I don't want to scan. Why did I scan probe? I'm dumb. I want my afterburner or my micro warp coffee. Boy, you can tell these things aren't scripted, can't you? There we go. Bring it in. Bring it in there, boys. Okay. Descan it. So basically what I've done, let's pull up the map here again. And this is where I'm at. And I'm 1.4 AU away from the gate. So anytime I come into the system now and I want to look at this gate, I can, and I don't have to worry about running into, most likely, a interdiction sphere. Unless somebody's watching this video and takes the time to fly over to the asteroid belt, then fly over, then drop a save spot right next to where I am 1.4 AU away. You understand. But while this was all going on, we had another guy come in the system. So let's see if he's popping up anywhere. Glacus. A malediction. So that's a big one there. So 99% chance that this malediction, I think this is the same guy that was there earlier, came through, and now he's gone. So he left system. Oh, now we get a Kel Richer and Richter. Alrighty. And this is kind of the fun part. You can really just kind of spy out here. It's a lot easier if you have a ship with cloak. You're much safer. Kel Ricker's capsule. Okay. Keeping an eye out, and he has flown away. Cool. So let's do our angle down. Actually, I don't need to do my angle down. I've got this 360 around this gate. I know I'm good. Now, remember that malediction went through. It most likely went through the gate at ATEC D because if you think about it, as soon as he went off my directional scanner, he disappeared from local. If he was flying to another area as soon as he left my directional scanner, it would have taken a while to get to the next gate and then jump out. So in other words, there's a good chance that that fellow who's in the malediction, who can do warp bubbles, I think, or warp disruption, might be on the opposite side of this gate. So let's see if he's there to kill me, because I'm all about getting killed. So we're going to jump straight through. Everybody's gone now. I'm only saying this so you guys don't think I'm dumb. I Part of it, there's this old thing that people used to say. I saw a video a long time ago that a guy made where he said, if you're afraid of getting blown up in your really expensive ship, go out, buy 10 rifters or 10 really small ships and go get blown up in all 10 of them. And don't do anything until you do that. Until you're free of worrying about dying, then, just jumping through. Nobody in local? So, nobody's in local. Let's get off this gate. I always pick this, and I pick a random planet and warp to it at 100. And then I can control B, and then safe 1. And as soon as I get off that gate, hit safe. Now I have 2 new save spots right around this gate. Why are these save spots important? Well, I'll show you. I'm not too worried. I got nobody in local, so I won't take too much time. Actually, I'll wait until I land here off my warp, and then I'm going to warp back to the save spot. Cool. Okay. So why is it important that I've dropped those out? Well, right here is where I dropped my first save spot. It watches this gate right here. The second one I just dropped will watch this gate right here. Notice this red line on Dotland? That means that is the separation of 2 constellations. This also is the only way to get from this side of the map through there to this side of the map. It's the only spot to get through at. So this is a prime spot that might have a small or large gate camp going on. So if you can set up 2, and I think people call them perches. I've always called them perches. Perches where you can land and look at the gate using your D scan. You can maybe get an idea and be a little bit safer that way, and not just rely on your cloaks all the time. I'm a big proponent of flying around as an alpha and practicing this because um, once you get this down, then throw on the cloak and you won't be as reliant on the cloak. And the addition of the cloak makes you, I want to say, like 99% invulnerable if you're just safe flying around and paying attention. Whereas before, when I used to play, I didn't know directional scanning. I didn't know how the layouts of the maps worked. And just relying on the cloak definitely was a hindrance to me as far as staying alive. It was a bonus, but it really didn't teach me what to do. So I'm a big proponent of flying around without a cloak and seeing how long you can survive, which is basically what I'm doing. So we're at a safe spot. Nobody's in system. So as I go through here, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to pull up each planet in each one. I'm going to look at the customs office, show info. Whoops, I want to access it, sorry. So come in here, I'm going to hit system info and customs office, access customs office. See here, tax rate 17%. That's no good. Let's try another one. Now that's for a barren planet. Let's try this lava one here. Customs office, access customs office, customs rate, 25%. Both of those really not useful to me. Could I do it where I was launching the items in space? That is a slight possibility, but it's not something that I want to do because my planetary interaction that I'm wanting to set up, I want it to be very simple. Now, other options, I could join a large faction, which already has its space saved, and they're the ones that control the customs offices. Um, I could just live in HISE. I can deal with the 20%. But this is kind of fun to me, to try to find those niches where you can get in and out and grab things, and be your own guy. So I know that I'm not wanting to stay anywhere here. So now that we are in Dotland world, let's take a gander. System number one. Actually, what I'm going to do is I have my second monitor. I'm going to drop Eve down below while I take ganders at Dotland. That way I can keep an eye on local while I'm looking through these. So let's get back in here. So we got ATZ. Just check out up top here. No kills, no pod kills. Good. And one pod kill, but that was 12 hours ago. Two pod kills, looks like. And LGL. No pod kills in the last 24 hours. 5J. One pod kill in about 8 hours ago. So not too bad. Second thing I'm looking for, remember those three things I talked about in the last video, is can I produce things here? Whoops. So let's take a look back at the map. Notice here, this system right here, I can produce and refine items. Same thing here and here. So let's fly over to 1H4V and see what that's like. So might as well reload our core probes. Good. And we're going to go OCT. That was OCT, right? I always forget. Yes, OCT, OTEC-C. And then we'll go one more over. Then I'll talk as I'm flying here as to why I want to do this. So the reason why I want to check out 1H4 VTech O instead of 5J, number one, it does have a nice little clone bay, but that's not a big thing for me. It's the fact that it's off the beaten path. Somebody who's just flying from one area to another, if they're using their autopilot, they're going to go up to 5J, and most likely they're going to go LGL ATEC D because it's the shortest route to get through. So you're going to lose a lot of traffic up here. Now, maybe not a whole lot, but we're going to find out. And if I can make it to this system, we'll check out the planetary interaction. I'm betting it's probably not that great. But we're also looking to see who lives here. So I can do that by checking out, here's one for you. I can check to, there's nobody in this system, but I'm going to warp to this Astra house that's sitting right out here. Show info. And this one is controlled by space transportation. Okay. And different things for this system. We're going to check out the planets. I did set up a save spot. If I do live to get this next spot, I'll spend some time setting up some save spots in the area, but I won't make you guys sit through those videos. But I do want to check out the planet. Check out the barren one. Access customs office. 8%. Look at that right there. That is interesting. Very, very interesting. Second thing, let's look at our gas one here. View customs office, access customs office. 8%. Very interesting. So we've got barren and gas. Gas. I'll check one more here. Gas, ice. Ice can be somewhat lucrative. Customs office, access customs office. That one's at 8%. That could be fairly interesting. 8%. Very interesting. Okay. Not saying this is where I want to stay at, but that is a little bit of a bonus. It's less than 10%. Okay. So we want to go one more system over. We're going to go to 1H. So jumpity jump jump. If I was doing my correct job. Actually, I might as well do this. Control B, safe one. Doesn't hurt anything. Oh, that gate is only, wow, it's only, doesn't matter. Never mind. I'm not going to do one. It's only 900 kilometers off of this station. So nobody in system here. Pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet. Plus, you've got 2 NPC stations here. Now, you want to be very careful with NPC stations. I saw this yesterday and I hadn't seen it in a while. NPC stations can be bubbled, which you want to be very careful about. But we're going to get off of here. Let's just choose a random planet. And there's a storm one here. Interesting. Good. While I have the, let's use this as an example system. Now, this is only the second constellation that I've checked out, so I'm definitely going to check out a lot more. But let's say I decided to live in this area because in the future, once I go Omega, I can do the planetary interaction. Oh, I never did put my save spot down. Okay, let's get moving. There's nobody in the system, so I'm not too worried. So, it's going to turn a little bit there. Let's say I wanted to live in this system. Since I'm in NPC millisecond, warp bubbles can be made. And let's say I wanted to stay in one of these 2 stations, and we're going to look at both of them here in a second. Even though I would keep my stuff there, I would try not to actually log off in the stations, because if I was logged off in the stations and then I logged back in, I can't tell if there's any warp bubbles on the outside of them. Whereas if I log off in space, maybe 1 AU outside of the station, um, when I log back in, it will take me to that spot, and then I can view to see who's in system, are there any bubbles up, has anybody been doing something goofy, that sort of thing. And like it talked about in the last video, it gives you a little bit more time to get your feel for what's going on in the area. So let's take a quick look at 1H5 real quick. Still got nobody in system, so that's making me feel more comfortable. We got, ooh, a lava planet. Now, what does the customs office look like here? Access customs office. 10%, not terrible. Lava's a big one. Let's try this storm one here. Access customs office. 10%. So these are 10%. This is right on the edge. I don't think I'd want to go for anything more than 10% as a single player. Let's check out the barren planet. Access customs office. 7.5%. I'm not going to get into the whole reason why that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe down the road, if I start doing some planetary interaction someplace, I'll do that. One thing I have found, though, is I probably won't do any planetary interaction videos, only for the effect that once you start doing your planetary interaction, that is a spot that you always have to come back to keep things rolling, get things. And that, being a YouTuber, I'm a YouTuber, can create you as a target. So I don't really want to mess around with that too much. But that's not too bad there. I've seen better, but I've seen a lot worse. And so not a bad thing. So what are some other things that I want to look for here? We've got okay options for planetary interaction. We've got that it has a factory and a refinery. I'm going to go ahead and move this down here so I can keep an eye on it while I'm looking at my stuff. It is, here's the system I'm in right now. It is off the beaten path, so that I should have less traffic. Let's check that out. We're going to check out the number of jumps in the last 48 hours. So right next to it, you've got 5J Tech UEX, and averaging about 20 jumps an hour, I think, maybe a little bit less. Let's go to the system that I'm currently in, 1H4V0. Notice the average jumps went down to about 8 per hour. So you went from 20 down to 8 with a spike. The highest spike was 20. So less than half the number of jumps through the system. That's intriguing because you can build stuff and there's less than half the people. Other things to keep an eye out for, especially living out here. There's a lot of different things, um, but it has completed two of the things that I was looking for on the edge, um, and that is I can make things and it's got planetary interaction. Um, One other thing that I want to check out is how many asteroid belts does it have? It's only got 4 asteroid belts. So let's go back over to Dotland. Get a lot of good information off of Dotland and the internal game thing, but it's nice being able to pull up 2 different screens here. So let's get back here. And then I think Dotland will tell you how many asteroid belts it has. Yeah, has 11 asteroid belts, the system right next door. So there is something that's kind of interesting. If I wanted to live here, I could do a little bit of planetary interaction. I've got some asteroid belts to farm some rats in. I'm right next to an area that has um, decent traffic in it. So if I wanted to mess around with other people, I could do that. So this is an idea right here. Now, next couple of days, I'm going to fly down through this constellation here, this constellation here, this one here. And I might do my next video down at the bottom left-hand corner because the last time I played in Stain, this area was warp bubbled up and protected by, I can't even remember the name of the alliance, um, but it was warped up and bubbled. The gates were protected, and there were obviously people that were living down there as a group. So that might be an interesting thing for me to go check and make a video about. Probably not until next week. That's all I got for today. I'm going to go ahead and log off here. Um, and that'll give me something to do tomorrow in the next couple of days. Just scout out the areas and have some fun. So other than that, hey, fly safe, fly dangerously, fly like you want. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.